Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. Racism in the NAACP. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. This week in Kansas City, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People held its annual convention, and racism was a featured topic.
It is time to warn the people that racism and hate is still alive in America, that we must wake up and get about our father's business and our mama's business. The business of tearing down the walls of racism, poverty, discrimination, and bigotry.
Well, it's true. Racism and bigotry are alive in America, just as they exist in every nation on earth, every one. So what Mr. Jealous will not say is that racism cuts both ways. We'll get to that in a moment. But let's get back to the NAACP president, who goes on to attack the Tea Party.
And in the middle of this great American nightmare, here comes the genetic descendant of the White Citizens Council. Burst from its coffin, carrying signs with slogans like Lynch Barack Hussein Obama and Lynch Eric Holder. Spell the bigots and racists in your ranks, or take full responsibility for all of their actions.
Now, we could not find those signs that Mr. Jealous referred to. And it is impossible for anybody to take responsibility for anything that their members do. Again, every nation, every organization, every concern in the world has some kind of bigotry in it. It's just the human condition. It's not to say it's justified. And if overt racism is demonstrated, it has to be called out. But if Mr. Jealous thinks there's no racism in his own organization, he's insane. Finally, the president of the NAACP went after Sarah Palin.
Sarah Palin says, let's party like it's 1776. My white daddy would say, be careful what you wish for. Because the 18th century, Sarah, wasn't good for nobody, even folks like you.
All right. Now, Governor Palin replied on Facebook saying, quote, the Tea Party movement is not racist or motivated by racism. It is motivated by love of country and all that is good and honest about our proud and diverse nation, unquote. From the beginning of the Tea Party ascent, the far left has labeled it a racist organization. That's what these people do. If they don't like you, you're a bigot. Talking Points is very disappointed that the NAACP is buying this nonsense. And it is perplexing because the organization does not condemn stuff like this.
I hate white people. All of them. Every last iota of a cracker, I hate him. What the hell is wrong with you, black man? You had a doomsday with a white girl on your damn arm. You want freedom? You're going to have to kill some crackers. You're going to have to kill some of their babies.
We didn't hear a word about the new Black Panther Party from the NAACP, even though the party is involved in a huge controversy right now with the Justice Department. So a case could be made that the NAACP is colorblind on racism. If blacks are the perpetrators, they ignore it. Or am I wrong? And that's the memo. Now for the top story tonight, reaction with us, Dr. Marc Lamont Hill, who teaches education and African American studies at Columbia University. Not only did Mr. Jealous and the NAACP ignore the Black Panthers, but they ignored Jeremiah Wright. They ignored Louis Farrakhan. They ignore pretty much anything that isn't white-generated alleged racism. Am I wrong here?
Yeah, you're absolutely wrong. I mean,
can you give me some examples of the three people that I've cited?
All right, first of all, with Jeremiah Wright, they took a stance on Jeremiah Wright.
What was that?
You may not have agreed with the stance.
Tell me what
they
the
defended
stance
Jeremiah
was.
Wright.
They defended him.
Yeah,
okay.
they defended Jeremiah Wright.
Goddamn America, and they defended him.
That's not the statement that they defended. They defended his right to speak out.
That's right.
They also endorsed
okay, no, let me stop
Obama.
you. He's not. So the Tea Party didn't have a right to speak out?
They absolutely do. But you also have a right to say that we want you to expel racists from your organization. The Tea Party doesn't have to do it, but they certainly have,
okay, but I'm not getting this. I'm not getting this. The NAACP wants the Tea Party to expel racists, but
or to at least denounce it.
But they stand up for Jeremiah Wright's First Amendment right to say what he said. Don't they want the Trinity Church to expel Jeremiah Wright?
It's not a First Amendment issue.
Wait.
No one is the NAACP's right to say or believe what they want.
No. You're. Let's just stay with me for a minute.
Okay, but you're making a First
I'm
Amendment.
not a smart guy like you.
I concede that point.
Right. Did the NAACP call for the Trinity Church to expel Jeremiah Wright?
No.
Okay. But they did call for the Tea Party to expel racists in their ranks.
Absolutely.
Okay. You don't see any discrepancy there?
That's only discrepancy if we both agree that Jeremiah Wright's a racist.
Okay. So he's not?
I don't think so, no.
No, even though his Rhetoric basically says that white people are devils and oppressors and on and on.
I've
and
never
on.
heard Jeremiah Wright say white people are devils. I
Okay,
think
that's Farrakhan. You're right about that.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's explosive. It's charged with racism, that the whites are the oppressors. You know that.
I didn't hear Jeremiah Wright say that either.
Yes, he did.
So we may disagree on that point. I think what Jeremiah Wright has talked about is institutional racism, and I think that's something that...
Generated by whites. Generated by what?
Generated by institutions that white people benefit from, and I think that's what Jeremiah Wright was talking about. I think that's what the NAACP is attempting to challenge.
Black Panthers. Now, you heard the Black Panther soundbite. This is in the news. So Jealous gets up there, and I haven't seen anything that the Tea Party has done that's been illegal. We couldn't find any of those
didn't say it was
signs.
illegal.
No, he referred to 2 signs. Lynch President Obama, Lynch Attorney General Holder. We can't find any reportage in the United States that those signs even exist.
I can tell you as someone who's been to several Tea Party rallies.
No, but stick on those signs.
Well, no, I'm
Where are they?
Well, I can't speak of those 2 specific signs.
But he made a big deal out of it. The president of the NAACP pointed to those signs to prove his case that the Tea Party people are racist, and they don't exist.
But a strong case can be made that there's racism in the Tea Party movement, and I don't think that anyone...
Strong case can be made that there's racism in the NAACP.
Then challenge it. No one's saying you don't have a right to challenge it,
But I'm saying there's racism in every organization. Columbia University has it.
You're absolutely right. And if I were to make a list of priorities for the NAACP, the challenging the Tea Party racism wouldn't be number 1 or 2 or 3 for me.
So why did they do it?
But I do think it's...
Why did they do it?
Because it is a significant thing to be done. One, it endangers the life of the president. It's a very large and influential
What
movement.
endangers the life of the president?
Whenever you have a movement where members of Congress are being spat upon and called the N-word, whenever you have signs that say lynch the
that
president...
is an allegation that has not been proven.
Bill, would you concede the point that if people do have signs that say lynch the president, that that's an endangerment to the president?
Well, look, I'm saying that sign doesn't exist as far as we know.
Because you haven't seen it?
Yeah, because it hasn't been reported on. Nobody saw it.
No, I have been.
Nobody saw it.
I can tell you right here, sitting here.
Did you see a sign?
I didn't see a sign, but you're not letting me finish the point. I have been to many Tea Party rallies where I've heard similar things about lynching the president, about beating the president up.
You can go to any bar in the United States and hear that about Bush, about Clinton,
but not in an organized movement rally sponsored by a movement.
You can't make these allegations, and Mr. Jealous is irresponsible.
There's nothing irresponsible about saying that you should speak out against racism in your organization.
Well, he's not speaking out about racism in his organization.
The NAACP has very explicitly on many occasions spoken out against racism, against anti-Semitism. You can't sit here and say that the NAACP hasn't spoken out against racism.
Can you point to one thing that Ben Jealous, the president of the NAACP, has criticized in the African-American community as being racist? One.
The job of the NAACP...
Can you point to one thing that he has criticized in the African-American community as racist? One.
What I'm saying is... You
can't.
Well, you're not letting me finish the point. What you're saying is counterfactual. That very notion of racism itself is about institutional power. So to ask me to point out something...
No, racism is individual bigotry and hatred, not institutional
Then we disagree
power.
on definitions, so that's why I don't accept the terms of your question.
Well, then you're wrong, because the Tea Party has no institutional power.
The Tea Party has
not even a registered political party.
Being white is institutional power. Being middle class and wealthy is institutional power. Being straight is institutional power. Being male has institutional power.
So every individual who's white, straight, or male can be bigoted, but everybody else can't be.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. There's a difference between bigotry and racism. I have the ability to assert my privilege as a man. I have the ability to impose my power as a man. There's all sorts of people with power.
Last question. Do you concede that this is a one-way street on NAACP? It's a one-way street.
No, I think you have wildly unfair and unrealistic and to some extent patronizing expectations for the NAACP.
Yeah, I want fairness.
You're essentially asking them to police other black organizations. You're asking a black advocacy organization to not advocate for black people, but instead to condemn other black organizations.
I don't mind them advocating for black people, but I want them to be fair in doing it and honest.
So if the point of the organization is to defend black people, why should they be out there beating up on the new Black Panther Party, even if you disagree with them?
They get credibility if they're honest.
That's ridiculous. You don't ask the Anti-Defamation League, you don't ask GLAAD, you don't ask any other organization to defend...
I ask them all to be honest.
To defend issues that are outside the scope of the organization. The NAACP is designed to protect people of color.
If they're going to raise the racist flag, they need to do it universally, not selectively. I'll give you the last word.
The NAACP is for the advancement of people of color. It's not. It's not.
Then they're not fair. No. Then it's not fair.
No, it is fair. So you're saying that a gay lesbian organization has to also defend Jewish people, or a Jewish organization also has to defend black people?
They don't have to go out their purview, but when there is racism or whatever in their purview, they have to deal with it.
But the Black Panther Party is not a subgroup of the NAACP.
No, but they're African Americans.
In fact, the actions that took place at that voting precinct weren't even endorsed by the new Black Panther Party. Malik Zulu Shabazz himself has said that they don't represent the organization.
He ordered it. If you saw the Kelly show, he admitted he ordered it.
I didn't see the video. What I know is that their institutional response is that they do not endorse that behavior.